jury duty.
Oh, God.
If that's not going to get you talking, I don't know what will.
Well, I showed up at 8 o'clock.
Per usual. And they said, go home. No, I'm just kidding.
At 1:30 they did.
What?
I sat around until 1:30, and then they told us that it had been settled out of court, and we were no longer needed.
So you took the plea bargain?
No, I don't know. They don't tell you anything about it. All they said was it's been settled out of court.
You don't even know what the case was?
Nothing about it. Nothing about it. We sat in a room, the exact same room that they did the roll call in. We sat in till 1:30. And then they told us that we were no longer needed. So we never went to the courtroom. We never did anything.
Aww.
We sat in the fucking room this time.
For 5 hours?
Yep.
How was that for you? How bored were you?
Actually, the same guy that was called last time was there too.
Well, it's probably in the same group as you.
Yeah, we just started bullshitting. No, we weren't in the same group. Last time he got sent home.
Oh, I see.
This time he got sent home with me. So he actually got sent home both times, which is boring as fuck. Yeah. But at least last time I got to go to the courtroom, so there was like, I don't know, 3 minutes of movement.
And entertainment.
Not really.
When they were asking you questions.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't fun. I just told him the truth, though. Like, my brother asked me about that, and when I told him the answers, he was going, well, no wonder they fucking kicked you out. And I was like, hey, they asked me the truth. That's what they said they wanted. Damn. I'm not trying to say this to get out of it. I'm just trying to say this because this is the fucking truth. That's the way I looked at it anyway.
You got to let the listeners in on the answer that you gave.
All right, well, I can kind of remember it. Because it was the prosecutor was the one that was questioning me. And I think what the whole... Because the defense lawyer only asked me one question. And that was after the whole thing of the judge asked everybody if there was any kind of crime that you were convicted of.
Yeah.
That it wasn't disclosed. And I was like, wasn't disclosed? What the fuck? That doesn't mean... Fuck that. I'm not going to raise my hand. That's bullshit.
Did anybody else raise their hand, though?
Oh, yeah, there was a couple people.
Oh, okay.
But there was the defense lawyer, when she comes up to question, she actually said, Mr. Reckner. And I went, yeah, that's me. She goes, well, it says here on your record that you had a DUI, and you didn't say anything when we asked you to disclose. And I was just like, why would I? He said that hasn't been disclosed. And she said, well, yeah, but you didn't say anything. I didn't think I had to, because I didn't think that it was trying to hide anything from you. I mean, it was done in this courtroom. I'm not kidding you. It was this courtroom that I got my DUI in. I was on that stand when I pled guilty. And so everybody started laughing about it, and I just thought it was funny. I was like, I'm not trying to hide anything. You guys called me. I thought you'd have this record by now since it was here.
And you called me out on it, so obviously you haven't. It's been disclosed.
That's what I'm saying. That was the only question she had for me. And so then the prosecuting guy, he comes up, and basically what I got from the whole bullshit of their questioning was that the guy was riding a motorcycle and had a helmet on, and the charge that they were actually giving him was fleeing a police officer. So the defense attorney was asking all sorts of questions on if you were ever on an ATV, a snowmobile, a motorcycle, that you were wearing a helmet, if your vision and your hearing were any way, shape, or form impaired.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty evident what they were trying to get at. So the defense attorney was the prosecuting attorney was going to lean heavily on the police officer's testimony. And you could tell that, too, because he was asking all sorts of questions about, what's your perception of police officers? And he asked this to about 3 or 4 people. And when he got to me, he asked me the question of, would I believe a police officer just because he's a police officer? And I can't remember verbatim what I said, but I do remember saying something along the lines of, I wouldn't trust a police officer just because he's a police officer, because he is still just a person, and the majority of police officers that I've known have been just as corrupt or more than corrupt than any of the other people that I know. You know, it's kind of one of those things of, we're all that way.
Yeah, power corrupts.
Yeah. And I think I even pulled that out a little bit, like absolute power corrupts absolutely. But no, that was the next one. Because then they asked me what my overall perception of police were. And that's when I said, a gang with badges.
That was my favorite when he told me that. Like a gang with badges. That's dead on, though. It is.
Yeah, and they actually... I didn't think... I thought that was pretty self-evident what I was saying there.
Yeah.
But then the guy was like, could you please elaborate on that? And I went, I'm glad you asked me. And when I said that, I shit you not, the guy, I could see the prosecuting attorney like roll his eyes a little bit. Because,
here comes a diatribe.
And I just said, basically the way that I look at a police is that they usually start with the best of intentions, but with the power that they have, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and they start getting to be more corrupt and more corrupt and more corrupt. Therefore, once you get a certain number of years down the road, you no longer care about the people that you say that you're trying to protect more than the procedures that it does to actually imprison the people. That way, you can get you can get higher up in your office, because everybody knows that a police officer doesn't get fucking promotions if they're not busting people. That's literally how they go through their system. So they want to bust you. That's how they get promotions. Police don't get promotions by giving out warnings and have a nice days.
Yeah.
Police get promotions by how many people they stop for speeding, how many arrests they get, how many blahs. I mean, they don't get promotions for doing nothing.
Yeah.
So they all want to fuck somebody over so they can advance their career. And it's not their fault per se, but it's to the... Yeah, and I basically just went off onto a tantrum like that, and at the end I just said, so I literally think they are a legal gang that has badges and legally has each other's back.
But
needless to say, I was excused.
I just thought I would have loved to have been in that courtroom.
I didn't even get to say what my real the whole. They started out with light brown uniforms, and now they have black uniforms because they're not supposed to be friendly.
Or even light blue uniforms, like in the TV shows.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, powder blue to make you feel happy and safe and protected. Yeah. Now it's basically, we want you to fear us.
Well, you look at any old school picture of a police officer, it doesn't matter what state they're from, if they're highway patrolsmen, if they're city cops, every single one of them has a light brown uniform on. I mean, they look more like park rangers than they do police officers to today's standards.
Yeah.
But they were supposed to be that way because everybody else wore brown or blue or black suits, so they wanted to be more outspoken, but they didn't want to. Hello, I'm a police. They didn't want to be flamboyant about it and have them like neon suits or anything. So they gave them the light brown suits because it kind of fit in with everybody, but it was a different color than most of the other suits. Because most of the other suits were the dark brown or the khaki. So if you give them that light brown wool look to them, they actually stand out amongst everybody.
That sucks that you didn't get called in again. I would have loved to have heard what new questioning they gave you on that. But so do you believe the government is implicitly good? Oh my God. Let me tell you.
You're going to want to take a seat and hand me that pitcher of water. Yeah, you could just see everybody wanted them to ask me another question. Because I had people just laughing.
Well, because you're a bullshit artist. So, and of course, and you have a goddamn brain. And you have a counterculture point of view. So, of course, and you have absolutely
nothing to gain or lose.
And you have no problem speaking truth to power. So everybody's just like, all the little sheep that were sitting next to you, like, oh my God, this motherfucker's dressed like a sheep, but he's a stone cold wolf.
Yeah, the best part about it was I had two people that when I came back and went and just started chirping to the person next to him as soon as I came through the door.
Like, this motherfucker, you should have heard what he said.
He
called the police a goddamn legal gang in court.
Yeah, because there was quite a few faces that I remembered from last week. So as soon as I walked through the door, I saw a couple people where they looked right at me and they just started talking to the person next to them.
Oh, because they're like, this is going to be a fucking...
I hope I'm with that guy again.
Dude, can I get some popcorn for this next session? Because that was goddamn brilliant. And I hope the defense attorney has more questions for him.
Yeah, that was the first time in all my times in court that I've ever seen a judge actually laugh willingly. Like, I've gotten a judge to laugh before. But
awkwardly? Like,
yeah, it was more or less the, oh, I shouldn't be doing that, fucking dick. You know, like...
It's like he's making a mockery in my court.
Yeah, exactly. And he giggled, too. See, I've done that before, but this time I actually got him to laugh when... Because after that first question, when I told him I think they're a gang with badges, and when he said, could you please elaborate? And I went, I'm glad you asked me to. When I said that, I could actually see the judge laugh like, oh, great, this is going to be fun.
And you know what, in all honesty, he was probably eating it up, because you would imagine how many lame-ass...
Oh, just how many... I like the police. In fact, some of my best friends are cops.
Or just the nervous people that just make it so awkward. I could just imagine. And to have somebody in there that's got a little bit of fucking cojones and has no problem speaking their mind and actually has a coherent fucking thought they can express. That is rare in this world.
Well, I'd like to see somebody debate me on that, because anytime you want to debate me on that theory that I have on police officers, on where they come in with the best of intentions, and after a couple of years, after working through the system of knowing I can't get advancement if I don't fuck people over.
Yeah, did I tell you I got let off by a cop?
Shift was ending, didn't want the paperwork. I've actually heard that, because I told you that
I think
my
that's
wife's
exactly what
sister-in-law is a police officer up in Alexandria, and she has actually said that to me at a Christmas party, saying that she's let somebody go with something like having one headlight out, just because it was, she was driving back to the station to clock out and didn't want to do extra paperwork.
Did I tell you about Iowa, when we were driving down to Iowa to the funeral I got pulled over?
Yeah, you did, but they probably didn't say it on air.
Yeah, but we were cruising down there, and of course I'm going like 70 and like a 55, and there was like a pickup truck, so I didn't think it was a cop, and he came past me the other way around like this back county road. It was like just before 10 o'clock, so it was probably the exact same scenario of he was driving home, because it was a back county road. Yep. And he pulls me over, whips around, whatever, kind of asks for license and registration and all that shit. I give it to him. I didn't actually have my registration on me.
Way to go, jack off.
Because I'm an idiot. And so I just basically gave him my... Because I've never been asked for registration.
No, it's license and insurance.
Yeah, because insurance means implicitly you have a fucking registration. Does it not?
Or at least the car's covered, and that's all they care about.
Yeah, and if the fucking name on the insurance matches the name on the license, put two and two together, you fucking mooks. But... So I didn't have my registration card, so I'm freaking out, like, all fucking freaking out.
Did you give him the insurance?
Yeah, I gave him insurance and license. I'm like, I don't have my registration. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do. And then, because I literally...
Mail you a copy.
Yeah, and then, so he goes back, runs his shit, comes back up to me, and then he goes, Jake, can you step out of the car? And I'm just like, fuck. Because I literally just put down the one when he pulled me over. And he's like, brings me back to his truck. He starts asking me all these questions like, so how long you been driving? I'm like, since about 5:30.
Since I was 16?
Well, and I was like, I should have just been a cunt. But he's like, when are you driving? I'm like, since, and I'm like, about 5:30, and it was a good 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, what time did you get up this morning? I'm like, 6 o'clock. How long did you work? Till 5:15. And all this shit, and I was just like, why? And he's like, because your eyes look a little bloodshot. And I'm like, I haven't been drinking, if that's the case. I haven't touched anything all day. And he's like, no. And I'm like, then what are you talking about? And then he just starts asking me all these random questions. Doesn't actually directly ask me anything like that. And he's like, okay, just stand here for a sec. Walks up to the car, starts asking Andrea, like, all the same questions, apparently. And she gives him all the same answers. And then he just comes back and he's like, so why are you so nervous?
Not nervous.
I was like, well, I was nervous, visibly. Oh. Well, I'm like, well, honestly, I just got pulled over in Iowa. I'm looking at probably a $200 ticket. I don't have my registration on me.
Which means I'm going to have to come back to court.
Exactly. I'm like, I can't, I'm going to her family's funeral. I don't want to be here. And now I'm $500 in debt.
Yep.
I'm kind of freaking out about it because really don't have that allocated in the budget.
I shouldn't be here in the first place.
Exactly. And I'm just like, I don't want to get
my day off.
And of course I got fucking weed on me, but like a dimer. But I'm not sure in Iowa.
Yeah.
In fucking Minnesota, that's a slap on the wrist. Here's a ticket.
In
Pay
Nevada,
the fine.
it's not.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what it is in Iowa. So I'm like, am I going to get fucking cuffed and stuffed? And how is she going to explain?
Cornholed at the jail.
Exactly. And how is she going to explain this to her fucking relatives that her boyfriend's in jail? And so I am just freaking out. But of course, I just played it off like, well, I just don't want to be here. And now I'm looking at a $500 debt, and I really just can't afford it. I fucking played it off as. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he's just like, well, have a good night. I'm not going to give you a speeding ticket. Make sure you get your registration put in there, and see you later. I'm like, holy fuck.
So I can keep my weed?
I should have fucking said that.
That would have been great. That's why I shouldn't have money, because I would say something like that and go, I got your fine, I don't care.
But he hooked me up with a fat solid.
Yeah.
Just because he wanted to go home.
I'd say that the coolest thing I've ever heard a cop do was down in Becker. It was actually my sister's friend. You know him as Five for Heads and Tails.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was going down to the cities to see his sister's place or something like that for Christmas. And he gets stopped at the red light on Highway 10 in Becker. And he pokes a bowl there and lights it up. And a cop came up at the red light right next to him and was watching him
do the whole thing?
Yeah, hitting this bowl. And so he goes, I put down the bowl, and as I'm doing the I look over, and the cop is staring right at me, and he picked something up from the other side, slaps it up against the window, and it was a Merry Christmas card, and he just drove away.
No way.
Yep.
At least the cop had a sense of humor about it, too.
Well, and then he actually said it. I looked at the clock, and it was 7:35, and I was thinking, he's probably just going back to the station now for clock out at 8. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's usually... because, when I got nailed, it was 9:55.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when I got back in my car and shit like that, and I'm like... And Andrew's like, well, he's probably going home, because why the fuck would he be out here?
It's a dumb hick little place, though.
Yeah. But it was in the middle of nowhere.
So that's where they get you, because that's where you fucking speed, because, nobody's ever on this road.
That's true.
That's where the fucking state troopers love to go, is on those little roads.
And the worst part is I saw him for a fucking mile.
Yep.
Because it's flat as shit. But it was a truck.
Yep.
Who has pickup trucks that are fucking cops?
No, they do around here. The 4-door ones.
Fuck you! Blowing holes in my theory.
Hey, I'm just saying. Where were you? I've never gotten a warning. In fact, I'm going to tell you this one.
I've gotten more warnings than tickets.
Yeah, you have. I have. Jack off. In fact, one you should have gotten a fucking DUI on, because you were freaking out until the cop came. You were, Sam, I'm dead. We're dead. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. He doesn't know that yet. I can't believe he didn't hear you whimpering like a little girl when he was walking up to the fucking door. And you got off. Oh, that chaps my ass, because I never would have. But the first time I ever got pulled over by a fucking cop, it was when I had a fight with my parents, and I was like, fuck this, I'm going to go play basketball. So I was going down to St. Cloud State. So I take Benton out to Highway 10 there to loop all the way around.
Yeah.
Fucking on the turf to get onto Highway 10, and he said I was too fast around there. Well, shit, it's a fucking on-ramp. Are you not supposed to accelerate?
Oh, yeah, that's how you don't cause a fucking accident.
Yeah. But he tells to me that because it was the 40 on Benton, that I accelerated too fast into the turn to get onto it, so I wasn't on the on-ramp yet. I was still on Benton when I accelerated, is what he told me. So he wrote me up. But the best part about it was when he comes back, he goes, well, I did you a favor. And right then I'm thinking, warning? Fucking right, he's going to give me a warning because he just explained that this is Benton and not the on-ramp. I'm cool with that. He goes, I'm going to give you a 1 to 10 over. I went, what? He goes, well, I could have given you the 10 to 15 because you were going 55 when I clocked you, and it's a 40 there. So I'm only going to give you the 1 to 10. I would have liked to have given you a warning, but I just don't think I could. And I literally said this to him, because the ticket was already wrote. I was like, well then, could you get me in touch with who could give me that warning? And he goes, excuse me? And I went, well, you said you'd like to, which implicates to me that I might be able to speak to somebody else that could tell you that it's okay to give me the warning.
Can I speak to your manager?
Yeah, I was just like, I'd like to give you a warning. Well, who else can? Because if you can't, I would like to speak with who can. Because, yeah, fuck you. That's the dumbest wording I've ever heard in my life. I would like to give you a... Then do it! It's that fucking simple! Why are you making this so hard?
You seem to be complicating things. Either you're blowing smoke up my ass, or you don't have as much power as you think you do.
That's what I'm saying. If you gotta call it in, I would be glad to talk to him for a moment. Maybe I can persuade him, maybe I can't. But I'm fucking 1 to 10 either way, so fuck it!
So fuck it!
And this is why police don't like me.
Yeah, and that's why you get shunned off of jury duty instantly.
Hey, I'm all for people saying whatever the hell they want to say, but I will let every single person know right now that if you actually speak to me on a one-to-one basis and expect me to have a coherent conversation with you, you need to pick your words carefully.
That is true. You are a stickler for fucking just nitpicking. Semantics. That's the word I was mining for. Whew. Semantics.
The reason I am, though, is because there's so many fucking words in the English language that if you can't pick the ones that exactly mean what you want them to mean,
yeah,
then you shouldn't be having that conversation in the first place. Because we're not texting. Yeah. We're conversing. I just don't understand how people can have very little vocabulary and use like 1 or 2 big words in a sentence that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But then think, well, I'm smart because I used a 4-syllable word. And it's just one of those things where I hate when people do that. I would rather talk small with you and use small words and, rather than try to have somebody seem like they're more intelligent than what they are because they use 1 or 2 big words and you go, what the fuck does incandescent have to do with that? Do you even know what that word means? Because by that sentence context, I'm pretty sure you think it's a verb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just, it's a stickler.
Well, because what are you doing? You're trying to convey an idea. And if what you're literally saying is completely opposite of what you mean to say, how the fuck am I supposed to know?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to read your mind and just intrinsically know that anything you say probably means the opposite because you're too fucking stupid to put a sentence together in your head with the actual words?
And that's what I think. That's why I'm such a stickler for words and how they're used. There's too many of them. You can't fuck it up. If you do fuck it up, I can't follow you.
You could find a 4 to 5 syllable word that could literally say...
mean the entire sentence.
Or a paragraph, for that matter.
Exactly.
You know?
All you gotta do is pick up your word a day. In a couple of years, you'll be awesome at it.
And that's the weirdest part, is in school, I made it a point to increase my vocabulary. Not because I wanted to seem smarter than everybody, because I got bored.
Huh?
Bored saying the same words
3 times a day and it's yours.
Exactly. I just got bored of being like, oh, that thing, or it's like, I can find a word that has a definition for exactly what I'm trying to say here. But the problem is then all of a sudden the idiots could say the exact same thing to us. Why don't you just use simple English so I can understand you?
And I do. I use fucking a lot.
That's more of a filler. That's like an to me, is fucking, fuck. Yeah.
See, I look at it as it's a noun, it's a verb, it's an adjective.
It's everything.
It's
a name.
And that's... It kind of stems... Noun? Well, it kind of stems into the whole thing of... It makes, no matter what you're saying, into regular American for other people to understand. And yes, I understand for people that can't see it, I did say Merkin, because that's what I've actually heard people say. I speak Merkin. I don't want to speak to somebody with an accent.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you fucking kidding me? We speak English, jackass.
But, because I love what Andrea calls swear words. She calls them sentence enhancers. I'm like, touche. I agree with that.
I don't think they're sentence enhancers as much as they are of emphasis.
No,
in.
Well, but if you're not even emphasizing what the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
If you're just sprinkling, you're enhancing it. Like fucking adding but
I don't see it as an enhancing.
Like adding chocolate chips to a cookie.
Yeah, I don't see it as enhancement more than putting an emphasis on something in it. Because anytime, if you look at how you use it, anytime you say the word, you're always emphasizing the next word. Like, this fucking guy, or that fucking house, or that fucking dog, or that fucking car, or the fucking weather. You're always, you're amplifying the next word. Yeah. It's more of basically that's what it is. It's just amplifying the next word. You're trying to say, that one, right fucking there. You know what I mean? It's basically just, here we go, perfect way to say it. It's the speech equivalent of all caps.
I thought that was just the way you talk.
No. That is. But we're just making it a little bigger fun. But you know what I'm
italicizing
saying? Exactly. With an underline.
Definitely caps lock italicized for a good fuck emphasis.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the way I look at it, is it's always an amplifier for the next word.
Hey, I look at it as like jelly beans and a Rice Krispie treat.
The only time it's not is when it's really awesome. I'm gonna go fuck!
Ciao!
But you could even do it that way. I'm gonna fucking fuck her!
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck her right in her fucking pussy.
Yeah, I mean, it could be everything, but that's the way I look at it. It's more of an emphasizer of the next.
The next.
It's just like, fucking, oh shit, the next word is gonna make this!
Oh shit, son.
That's the way I look at it.
Let's get into some current events.
Oh,
I got this great...
Oh my god, that guy looks like this is my boomstick.
Yeah, he's a televangelist. He is a creepy looking motherfucker. His name's Ernest Angley. He is from Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
Pretty sure it's not that long.
Oh, my bad.
They are long O's, but that...
It's from Grace Cathedral in Cuyahoga Falls.
You're having way too much fun with that.
Ohio! It's such a terrible... For how shitty this story is, that intro was probably really in bad taste, but that's what we aim here. That's what we aim here for. Alright. So, former
I'm
members...
to be in this show right now.
So, according to former members of his Grace Cathedral Church have accused the church leader and televangelist Ernest Angley of demanding they have abortions or vasectomies, and that he would both engage in and turn a blind eye to sexual abuse in the church.
What?
So not only did he do it himself, he also let it happen. So
I'm trying to get the abortion and vasectomy thing.
Yeah, over 20 former members of Angley's congregation spoke with the Akron Beacon-Journal in its 6-part series on various allegations made against the 93-year-old preacher. Holy fuck.
Oh, way to bring it up when justice can be done.
Yeah, no shit. Former members said he pushed vasectomies and abortions, and that he would personally examine, quote, the genitals of the male parishioners before and after their vasectomy surgeries. That's what the Beacon Journal quoted. One former member of Grace Cathedral said, quote, none of us have kids because he makes all the men get fixed. Quote, you are not allowed to have babies, Becky Rodman told the Beacon Journal. Others said Angley regularly counseled women to have abortions, going so far as to say to one woman in his congregation that she should think of her fetus as a tumor, said former Grace member Angelina Osborne. Quote, she was 4 months pregnant and she sat in the abortion clinic waiting room and told her baby that she was so sorry that she was doing this. I know another girl, Osborne said. She won't come forward, but she was forced into having 4 abortions by this fuck. Greg Mulkey, a singer in the Hallelujahs that performed during Angley's televised services, suggested that encouraging vasectomies and abortions was a part of controlling how congregants spent their money. Quote, he doesn't want people to have kids because it would take their time and money away from the church, he said. He really forced people into abortions through scare tactics as if you were a medical doctor. It turns my stomach. Angley, just wait till the end. I can't wait to hear your rant about this. But Angley addressed accusations that he pushed vasectomies and that he was a homosexual based on allegations that he inappropriately touched an associate pastor for 7 years. During a church service in July, recorded by an attendee and later offered to the Beacon Journal. Quote, he says, I am not a homosexual. God wouldn't use a homosexual like he uses me. He calls me his prophet. He calls me a prophet. And indeed I am, Angley explained. They called Jesus a homosexual, did you know that? And still do, because he was with men. Angley said, urging members...
Who the fuck calls him a homosexual, you jack-off?
Angley said urging members of his congregation to get vasectomies was part of how he helped so many of the boys down through the years. That's a quote. They had their misgivings, sure. I'd have them uncover themselves, but I did not handle them at all.
Ooh,
and I would
that's better.
Yeah, and I would tell them how that would work.
I just like looking at them.
Because I would just think to myself, and I would come in my pants.
Yeah, exactly, you fucking old piece of shit.
And they'd have to watch it. Whoa, that's creepy. And I'd have some of them come back to me that I felt needed to, that were fucking sexy is what it is. And I would tell them, I would look at them, they're privates. So I could tell how they were swelling. Like swelling because you think it was an erection, or just like the vasectomy scar? That's creepy.
Maybe it's the whole thing of their balls swelling with semen.
Because they can't get fucking laid.
I don't know.
And then I goes, he offered accounts...
I don't even know if that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, he offered accounts of men he had counseled, but insisted his manner was not sexual. Quote, I was a farm boy. We thought nothing about undressing. We didn't know about homosexuals. We talked about women. And some of these turned against me.
Yeah, nothing says hetero like a bunch of naked guys in a room together.
No shit.
Hey, anybody want to wrestle?
I got some grease over here. Want to lube ourselves up?
Oh shit, the mat's already out. Who would have thought that?
And it goes on to say, one who did turn away from Angley was the associate pastor, Brock Miller, who told family and friends he left the church because Angley violated him for 7 years. Angley had him undressed and touched him all over, said another family member of Miller's. Who
Not
asked,
all over. If it was just like the top half or the bottom half,
yeah,
but all over,
just the
that's a little too much.
I mean, he was massaging his toes, his inner thighs,
in between.
But it goes on and says, this is a quote from the family member that wants to remain anonymous, apparently. Nominee. I don't believe he touched him on his part, but it doesn't matter.
On his part?
Like of his hair?
Well, he already did have a vasectomy, so...
Yeah, that's true. That doesn't belong in the church. It doesn't belong anywhere, but it certainly doesn't belong in the church.
Well, it belongs somewhere, I'm going to tell you that. If nobody ever touches my part, I'm going to be pissed.
Exactly.
That's where you get people going postal. You got to have people touching parts.
That is true. At the July 13th service, Reverend Chris McHammer, an associate pastor, called Miller a proven liar
shit,
and a drug addict who simply wanted to take control of the church after Reverend Angley dies. Miller refused interviews, of course.
It actually sounds
No,
like,
I said that.
I was gonna say that. That's hilarious that a journalist was just like, of course, because he doesn't want to incriminate himself.
Yep. Miller refused interviews from the Journal. He has not, a family member, emphasized accused Angley of being gay, but only that he was violated by the longtime pastor. Shane McCabe, another former member of Grace, said as a teenager he was sexually molested by associates at the church. When he confronted Angley about it years later, the pastor ignored the allegations. Quote, he asked if I had told anybody. I said no. He said, let's keep it a secret. This is the way we need to handle it because God's mercy is great. God's mercy on who? On the fucking pedophiles that were assaulting these children?
I'm just going to say, in even the quote-unquote good book, God doesn't show much mercy.
Yeah, this guy obviously hasn't read the Old Testament.
Well, I just think it's funny, because this is what I'm going to say. I'm all for everything that's happening here.
What, the sexual molestation?
Yeah, because if you're stupid enough to believe what somebody says just because they go, Jesus, in between each sentence, you should have everything done to you that you could possibly imagine. I am so sick and tired of and this is going to be my rant, I guess, that's going to be incredibly horrifically sounding. But I am so sick and tired of the weak, meek, and stupid surviving as long and as
bountiful?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It might not be the word you're looking for, but I think it's apropos.
Basically, it's getting sickening.
Yeah,
I get this question all the fucking time about, what do you mean you don't want children? Well, how could you never want children? And I always come back to the same fucking deal. I don't want children until I see some kids that I want my kids to play with. And that includes, I want to see adults being parents to their fucking kids instead of putting them in front of a goddamn PlayStation and saying, we'll be back in 2 hours. Or, I want to see the fucking parents take the side of a teacher.
Like your kid is a fucking idiot.
When was the last time you ever heard somebody say that their kid was fucked up and they couldn't do anything about it? Even the fucking Columbine kids, all of their parents, well, I just don't know what happened. I didn't see any signs of it, and I didn't do it. Douchebag, read their journal. They even talked about how you didn't do a damn thing with them.
Yeah, exactly. No wonder you didn't see the signs. You need to be an active parent.
Yes, and I had this conversation with a couple of people that start talking about, well, that's why you have to be a good parent. And I keep coming back with the whole aspect of, no, it doesn't just end with me. And especially nowadays. I mean, back when we were growing up, our parents had a hard enough time because that's when the laws were changing to the point where nobody could really discipline a kid.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, right now, yes, granted, I do believe that Adrian Peterson went too far. But if that would have happened back in our day, nobody would have even batted an eye about it. They would have just been like, you should be nicer then.
Yeah.
Don't do it around him.
Your parents are assholes?
Yeah.
At the most?
I mean, in our day, like, seriously, if you had a friend that had it happen to, you'd just be like, sucks to be you, man. I'd be out of there as much as I could.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm not going over to fucking Tommy's house.
Yeah.
His dad bust your nutsack right
but
open.
But nowadays, shit.
That not in a good way.
Yeah, that's on the front page just because he's famous.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's on the front page. If that happened back then, they would have just been like, Adrian Peterson, how he disciplines his child. It would have been an ESPN the magazine or something like that.
No shit.
10 ways on how to discipline your kid like an NFL player. They would have been proud of it back then.
That would have been the Time magazine.
Yeah.
Hot 100.
But nowadays, you can't do a goddamn thing to a kid even if you're the fucking parent.
Yeah, and they can run all
And they do! And they do because they know nothing can be done.
And you know what's the most fucked up part is I remember that, like you said, that became really, really prevalent when we were growing up. Mm-hmm. And I would honestly hear my peers in school say, let's fuck with the janitor and do whatever we can.
He can't touch us.
Can't do anything.
Yep.
That's not the way it should be.
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because kids, they might be,
The best teacher we could have had was forcibly retired. Because of what? He interrupted a fight that was happening, ducked a kid's punch, and smacked him. So because he defended himself, he was forcibly retired. He had to retire or he was going to face charges.
But he had bear paws.
He did. He had some big mitts.
But that's...
But I'm just saying,
that's
the
bullshit.
best teacher we could have had retired before we could have him because he was a junior and senior teacher.
Yeah.
We were freshmen when that happened.
That's so...
And since there was 2 weeks left of school, they went, look, just announce your retirement and everything's going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. The parents aren't going to fucking care. Which is retarded because them as parents should be like, you fucking deserved it, you stupid
Being a
bitch.
parent, you should have slapped the kid again and said, "Oh, what the fuck are you thinking swinging at a teacher?"
Yeah, that's the problem, is the parents have no respect.
Nope.
So, of course, how can they bring
My
up the
kid is so innocent. He could
Exactly.
never do anything wrong. What do you mean that he was caught doing this? You set him up.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you pretentious douchebag. Because nowadays, parents would rather say that their kids are fucking angels rather than admit that they made any kind of fucking problems with them. Oh, well, that's what happens when you sit them down in front of a PlayStation and say, we'll be back in a while, dinner's in the fridge, heat it up in the microwave.
That's brings me up to the whole thing of the video game, is that's always perplexed me on how you always see in the news kids being suspended for having water guns, Nerf guns, using a chicken finger as a gun, making a gun with their fingers.
Yeah.
They get expelled because that's violent behavior. But then what happens when they get suspended? They go home and play Call of Duty.
Yep.
Where they pretend, and this is
where you fuck prostitutes and steal their money.
Exactly. You play video games like that. And then you wonder what the fuck the issue is. I'm not saying they should kick out every kid from school.
How many times did anybody, and I don't care, if you're 25 years or older, how many times in your life have you made finger guns?
I do it every day.
So I'm just saying, well, in the mirror.
Well, whenever I see a cute chick, I'm like, bang, bang, finger bang you, girl.
Right fucking there.
Yeah, bang. But, yeah, I mean...
I'm just saying, it's stupid how they brought everything so far, and it does come down to the culture of saying that it's the Sue Happy Nation.
Or is it more of a systemic brainwashing thing?
No, it's a Sue Happy Nation. You have to cover your ass, or you're gonna get sued.
But when it comes to, like, the children in school...
Schools get sued all the fucking time, man.
I think the schools are really there to acclimate you to be a slave and to give you slave training.
Pretty much.
And so what they're doing...
they don't fucking teach you...
Yeah.
The elective classes teach you more than any of the other classes.
So that's what's weird, is because we're butting up against one part of society that is trained to treat you like a slave, aka the school, butting up against another part of society, which is their home life, which they're getting inundated by Pentagon-funded video games to train them to be killers.
I really do think that this entire school system should be overhauled. I think what should actually happen is you go through kindergarten through 8th grade, and then you go into what I would consider junior high. I wouldn't consider junior high 5th through 8th grade.
No, it'd be 8th grade you stop.
8th grade is when you stop doing all the shit of like world economics.
Because that's when it did stop.
Yeah, but what I would say is the next 2 years are your junior high period, where the next 2 years you would have a plethora of different options.
Drugs, bitches. No, sorry,
rock
that'd be
and roll. No.
That'd be my school.
I would say, where it would kind of drive a direction that you're looking for. Are you looking more like a business aspect, where they would give you like the application of saying, all right, well, here's a typing class, here's a computers class, all that kind of stuff. Or are you looking more towards a manual labor? So we'll teach you more along the lines of electronics and plumbing and carpentry, or
would you want to do more of an aptitude test to get them in the right direction?
We'll give you no. Give you about 4 or 5 different choices, and say the first year you pick one of them, the second year you pick another one, or even do like 2 a year. So you leave one of them out. But you have an overall where it gives you the intro of all this stuff. You know what I mean?
And then you could find what you like the best.
And then the next 2 years, that's where you hit those, what you liked.
I like that. Because when you first were saying it, I'm like, that sounds like a communist model. But see, that's the thing, is that's what we need in this country, is hybrids. I'm so sick of A and B.
Yeah.
You either have to be completely corrupt fascists.
Once you get those 4 years out of the way for the junior high school, because high school should be 2 years, junior high should be 2 years, you got your fucking years into 12, then you can go off to a college if you want. Yeah. You should have all the knowledge, because I'm not saying that you don't get basic knowledge along the way. But what I am saying is that it should be more in tune with what you could actually get producing in the world. If you take, let's just say, there's always going to be a chunk of, math, shit like that. There's going to be...
But make it applicable math to what you're going into.
That's what I'm saying. I shouldn't have to take calculus if I'm going to be a carpenter.
Yeah.
If I'm an engineer, yes, calculus makes sense. But in carpentry, what are you ever going to need calculus? I have never once go, shit, I'm going to need at least 2 more pieces of paper if I'm going to figure out what angle I need to cut that at.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't make any kind of sense.
I agree.
Like, and if you're going to go into that kind of a carpentry, plumbing, electrician, you should work with more fractions.
Yeah.
So you understand 3/8, all that kind of shit. You can break it. You can just flip it out like it's second nature.
And because I can testify to that 100%. Because, as you know, my last 2 years of high school, how many times would I get criticized for skipping an entire day except for art class?
Yeah.
A smart educational system would have looked at that trend and said, we need to give a bulk of this kid's focus into creativity.
Yeah.
He obviously doesn't want to sit here in fucking class, so let's mold a curriculum around his interests. But that would also require more
somebody
money
to care
and more funding. But
well, they don't care about anything except for performance and reviews.
Yeah. And how can we afford to educate our children when we need to fight 5 fucking wars?
Well, nobody really cares about the children. They'd rather care about caring about the children.
Oh yeah, you're gonna see more fucking purple ribbons tied around that old oak tree than goddamn dollars allocated to the education.
Well, I just love how everybody says that they care about their children, and we need to do everything for the education and for the children, and do this
Nobody
and do
ever
that.
does.
Are you fucking kidding me? When was the last time something actually changed for the better for educational system?
And how hard is it to get a goddamn levy passed to raise a smidgen of taxes to make your schools better?
Let's just call up China. Tell them, all right, we need about 2,000 people that know how to teach kids, and get them over here.
I don't want Chinese.
We'll even get... They're fucking top of the fucking list, man. When you talk about mathematics, science, and all that shit, they are right up there.
I want
American any Chinese that doesn't know mathematics, I think they kill at birth. They've got some kind of a test for that.
I want an ignorant American teaching my ignorant American children.
Well, I'm just saying, I bet you the whole difference is just the way that they actually push the kids instead of nonchalantly telling them, well, you can work at your own...
But I wouldn't...
Because you'd have some Chinese guy that'd be there... Do one more!
Yeah, but you need a fucking happy medium between that. Because to that extreme, that's bullshit.
Alright, I'll give you that. A Cambodian.
Okay. Problem solved.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding.
I apologize to the one person from Cambodia that may or may not be listening to this.
Whatever.
They're not listening to this.
Look at this creepy ass.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's the whole fucking program that they got working for that town, Waseko or whatever.
Yeah.
They've got like 15 shots and it's all one fucking creepy clown. Oh, he is so fucking creepy. Why? That one right there. I'm going to kill you when you sleep.
Yeah.
You just, anybody that wants to know what we're talking about, go Wasco, WASCO, clown. and there's a bunch of pictures that Wasco, California put on about their fucking town. Where
no, it's just a creepy clown.
ass clown.
Has none of the town.
No, there is. These are actual ads. I'm not kidding you.
No, it's just some dude's Instagram thing, and the town is just like...
They picked it up, though. That's what all the fucking fuss was about last night. That one where he's in Welcome to Wasco?
Yeah.
That's on their website.
That's funny.
Wasco, that's their website right now.
You got to embrace it, though.
Oh, that's creepy.
That one, but what the funniest part is because there's a bunch of random... They say there's random people now.
Why is a clown so fucking creepy, man?
I don't know, dude.
Is it because Stephen King's It?
I really don't find clowns that creepy.
Ever since Stephen King's
I really
It,
don't.
I don't know.
I look at it like you're an idiot with balloons standing in the dark. It's not scary. Clowns.
I don't find them scary. I find them creepy.
Is it?
I find them like
maybe it's our
like ravens.
Yeah, maybe it's our intrinsic fear of gingers.
That could be. I just like well to this point, I find them almost as if they were the equivalent of something like a raven, because I find them very creepy. That mask is creepy though, but I find them extremely creepy, especially the caw that they do. I had a couple of them. I'm not kidding you. The one day that I came into the garage. In the garage, and Diego doesn't really come into the garage very often if he thinks that I'm just going to turn around and walk out because he's sick of getting kneed in the face. So he just stands right next to the door. And I turned around and Diego wasn't standing there. So I was thinking, oh, he's probably out in the middle of the yard taking a shit like he should be. And I come to the door and I noticed that Diego's just standing there looking up at the top of the garage. And I was thinking, well, that's kind of fucking weird. So I walk out of the garage, and as I shut the door and turn around, all of a sudden, like 5 fucking crows sitting up on the roof right next to the door there. And as soon as I shut the door and it shook the building, they all caught. Diego took off towards the door, and
I was scared.
That is an eerie sound. That really is, especially when a bunch of them are doing it that close. Like, they must have all just been staring at Diego going, you can't get us. What the hell are you going to... But as soon as they started cawing, he took off at the door. And I'm not kidding you, my heart started going like crazy. Because I didn't know what he was looking at. I just look up, and as soon as I close the door, they just start going at me. All I was doing was, oh my God, Alfred Hitchcock was right!
Yep.
They're fucking creepy as shit. But it's not like I'm scared of them.
Yeah.
Just like clowns. They're fucking creepy as shit.
Did you hear they're remaking it?
Yes, I have.
Version.
Hey, here's a good way of how I look at clowns. When I was like 9 years old, I told you about this. I got kicked out of the fucking, what was it? The Minnesota State Fair haunted house.
For punching a clown?
Yeah, because you know that dude that is like behind the...
I don't do haunted houses.
I'm just saying, they're in every haunted house where it's got like the jail cell bars thing, and they always have it non-lit. And then when you walk into the room, they have the opposite side of the room lit. So you jump back because of what's on, the lit side, and then somebody grabs you from those bars and this gets lit up. And so you turn around and somebody had a hold of you. Well, dude grabbed my shoulder and went, and the light came on and I turned around and went, wham! And just nailed him in the balls because,
You're a little kid.
And all of a sudden he went, whoa! And the lights came on and they took me and my dad out this door that was on the side so we didn't go all the way down. I got kicked out of the fucking haunted house for punching some dude in the crotch when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's the same door they use for little bitches who start crying and having a panic attack.
And the best part about it was when we went out, I was sitting there like, oh shit, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I just got my dad kicked out of the haunted house because I punched a dude in the balls. And that's bad on its own. And we walk outside and my dad looks at me and he goes, are you okay? And at that moment, I was like, whoa! Whoa, what do you mean, am I okay?
Did you see? I'm the one that punched him in the balls.
You should be asking that dude. Get him a bag of ice or something. So when I told him, yeah, he went, good cut.
If some creepy fucker ever touches you like that again.
That's the one thing I can remember him talking to my mom about it, going, well, we tell him not to talk to strangers, so why would we let him grab him?
That is true. It's inevitable.
Yeah, and now when I'm looking back on it, I would tell the kid the same thing. Be like, yeah, he fucking grabbed you. Good job. Let him fucking have it.
No shit.
That's yours. It's Bubble. All. Protect it. You let him know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You let go of my purse. Kick. Kick.
So what were you going to be for Halloween?
I have no... Beast.
Ah, that's what it was.
Yep.
She was going to be Beauty and you were going to be the Beast.
Yeah, and it works.
It does.
It does. Otherwise, I'd have the haircut by now. I was actually thinking about doing it last weekend.
Oh, really? But you just wanted to keep it for...
Oh, it gets so fucking annoying, man.
Yeah, you know what to tell me. I'm constantly struggling. Gotta tame the flow.
This is... As long as I've... Like, it's there. It's been there.
It's an epic.
Yeah.
You need to wait till winter. Get on some skates, let that flow just fly in the wind. Yep, when you're just skating around. It's majestic.
Betcha.
I'm not looking forward to winter, but I am looking forward to strapping on the skates.
Dude, we gotta hit some east. I want some indoor ice this year.
Yeah.
Sick of all these waves.
Yeah, no shit. I'm hoping I can use Carl's connection as coach of the JV team of the St. John's University, to get some
That'd
fucking
be sweet.
National Hockey Center time.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and he plays this men's league on Sunday nights, so maybe if one of their teams forfeits, they'll have an hour of just free skate time. I'll keep in check with that, too.
That'd be cool.
Because they paid for the ice.
Yeah.
You know what's actually pretty legit with the St. Cloud men's, hockey league that they have? They finally, this year, got adopted into the Minnesota Wild, organization of, hockey leagues, men's leagues. Mm-hmm. So now they're going to have, officials, and it's going to be, super legit.
Nice.
So that'd be kind of cool. Yeah. It's nice to see that, the Wild are reaching out to the community and growing hockey. Exactly. Number one fans, man. That's how you run a fucking organization. Grassroots.
It's just... I can't tell you how much different the state feels when it has a team again.
Oh, yeah. And what I really want is I want the Minnesota...
Especially in 2-0.
Yeah. I really want the Minnesota Wild to cultivate such a homegrown crop that in 20, 30 years we can literally
have a Minnesota team.
Team. Doug Woog used to do it for the University of Minnesota.
Yeah.
I will only play Minnesota boys. I really, really want that. And as we might not be as competitive, but I think in 20 years, when we cultivate the talent, we could put together an NHL team. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
If we could...
Well, if you look at Minnesota players, if you're going to actually say out of the U.S., Minnesota has more NHL players than any other state, bar none.
And the best.
You're going to be looking at guys that we have on our own team right now. Parise.
Yeah.
Come on. Arguably the best Minnesota player ever. Even his dad says that he's better than he.
Yeah.
So,
And when he wins us a Stanley Cup, he will be the greatest.
Yeah.
Because it's going to happen.
I'm just saying, he will be a little shadowed by Mikko Koivu. But that's just neither here nor there. That's just going to happen if you're on the team.
It's true, but he's always got to one-up because he's a Minnesota boy and not a Finn.
Yes. But I will say, most underrated player in the NHL is Mikko Koivu.
Oh, by far.
And it's just like how we always talk about Ryan Suter.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the ESPN time. He doesn't get that kind of shit because it doesn't look miraculous when he does it.
Yeah.
It looks like every other play.
Exactly. It's like, oh, what a great save by the defenseman. Yeah, because he was completely out of position. You shouldn't have to make a play like that if you know your position.
It's cool to be a good catch-up guy.
Yeah, exactly. Have some break, closing speed.
When you're good enough to make it look like it just happens, like, oh, well, that's what he does every day. Like Mikko Koivu, like Ryan Suter, like Zach Parise. You know, I'll even put Pominville in there right now. Pominville's been lighting shit up.
Thomas Vanek needs to step it up a smidge.
Yeah, he does. But I will understand. He really hasn't had that much time
to
with
acclimate to the new system.
But I will tell, he needs to step it up.
He got that pretty good deflection.
This is a team of fucking all-stars.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding you. This year, this is a team of fucking all-stars. So you either got to play as an all-star or you need to get the fuck out of the way. Because there are other players like Brosniak, like Veilleux. You know, you're going to know exactly what you're going to get out of those guys game in, game out. Stefan Veilleux, as far as I'm concerned, the only reason that he's not another...
Didn't they drop him?
Yes, they did. But as far as he's not another Zach Parise, he doesn't have the size. He is tiny. He's like Spurgeon tiny.
I mean, he's a ginger.
He was a ginger, but...
Still is.
Oh, he got a dye job.
Argument. Well, I forget, you talk about players like they're dead as soon as they leave the wild.
Well, aren't they?
No. They live and have flourishing careers.
Well, I just thought like the ghost of plays us.
Oh, no.
So Bogart's... No. You had to have seen that coming. Come on.
No, I walked right into that screen door. Yes. Just terrible. Terrible taste.
Good times, though. Good times. Whatever. His own brother killed him, so I'm the one in terrible taste.
Touche.
Hashtag this one as Minnesota Wild fans.
Exactly. So did you hear about the Wyoming case where this dude hijacked a train?
I did not. He hijacked a fucking train?
Yeah, it's true. The headline is... Disgruntled employee steals locomotive to play chicken with supervisor. Crashes into another train.
Wait.
Wait.
So you're telling me that the whole thing is he was trying to fuck with his supervisor, but when they're saying crashes into another train, is that he crashed into his train's, his supervisor's train? Or are they saying another train? Because what I'm trying to say is, if he was trying to play a chicken with his supervisor, the first thing I'm thinking is both of them have trains, and that's the dumbest game ever because it's not like you can swerve.
Exactly.
So I don't understand what he's. Or are they saying another train was involved?
Let's find out. The article says, in a case of train robbing that was more Marty McFly than Jesse James.
Oh, he had a hoverboard. Man. I get you.
A disgruntled employee commandeered a locomotive from the Wyoming mine where he worked, taking it on a 13-mile joyride before crashing it into a second train. So it must have been another train.
Yeah,
another train, please. Sorry. Derek Schuyler Brooks was charged Friday with reckless endangering, felony destruction of property, and felony destruction, and obstruction or removal of railroad track or fixtures after authorities said he stole a train from North Antelope Rochelle Mine and drove it south, the Gillette News reported.
For a second there, I actually thought you were going to say it was obstruction because he removed obstruction from the mine.
No.
Once again, now we're talking about the semantics that I love so much.
Apparently this dude's 22, so a hothead.
Oh, yeah.
So the 22-year-old utility coal operator received a call Thursday morning about working conditions from his immediate supervisor at RailLink, where he had worked for the last 3 years. He said the call, quote, really kind of pissed me off, and, quote, sent me over the edge, or God damn. Sent me over the deep end. I got those two legs.
Yeah, you are trying to put words in his mouth.
According to the affidavit filed in the circuit court. Brooks then channeled his inner Doc Brown and uncoupled two Burlington Northern Santa Fe BNSF locomotives from the train cars for his, quote, science experiments of his own. Taking the shortened train off the main tracks and onto what's known as the loop at the site, reaching speeds up to 70 miles per. Woo! He needs it to be 88 if he wants to go back
That's
in
what I'm
time.
saying. He just did not have the fucking... They Marty McFly'd him already, man.
Yeah, no shit. Then he went around the loop and pretty much squashed the fuck out of their scales.
What?
That's what the quote said.
Squashed the fuck out of the scales.
Their scales. And blew the locomotive's horn to alert people, according to K2 Radio. The disgruntled employee then placed quote, a very, very nasty angry call.
A very, very nasty angry.
To his supervisor to, quote, play chicken with her. And joked that she might perceive the call as probably, quote, a little life-threatening. After that, he hung up and called the rail dispatch to let him know that he'd be switching back to the main line.
That's a danger!
So he was responsible enough to at least tell dispatch, I'm switching back to the main line, boss!
Somebody's called me out, motherfucker. Switch
Yep.
me. Switch me.
Switch me. In the affidavit, Brooks went on to say that he passed a BNSF maintenance crew and that, quote, they were probably pretty fucking...
Whoa. Passed?
Yeah, he passed the BNSF
How
maintenance
the fuck
crew.
does this happen? You're on a train tracks.
Well, they're probably maintaining the tracks he just drove past.
Well, that's so strange.
Why? BNF's crews are all over the place, man.
The truck on the... It's like, whoa, man!
Yeah, get it. Oh, he's gaining on us. No, they're probably standing to the side. It wasn't probably a truck,
That's true.
on the track.
That's true.
I'm assuming. But my
I'm just always thinking the shit's on the tracks, so...
Yeah, but in the affidavit, Brooks said that the BNSF maintenance crew were, quote, they were probably pretty fucking scared.
I bet.
Employees from Peabody Energy Corp. And Burlington Northern Santa Fe LLC attempted to stop the locomotive between rail mile markers
Farker.
53 and 58, but were unsuccessful.
So you're telling me that these motherfuckers want to have commercials that come out and say, we can move a ton of freight over 2 miles with less than a gallon of gas. But they can't shut a fucking train off with a remote? You would think that... I mean, what are you going to do that's actually that bad if you just put one fucking computer chip in with a fucking remote control type thing where they can shut them off, speed them up, slow them down? Why the fuck can't you... we can fucking fly bombs into people's houses with dudes that are in Colorado, but the fucking bomb is in Syria or Saudi Arabia. And... you can't have a fucking douchebag sitting in a house someplace.
Kill switch.
Just fucking on their computer driving a train?
Apparently not.
You would think that if you got some of these fucking 12-year-olds driving these trains just that play video games all the goddamn time, it'd be even easier than having these douchebags. Then you wouldn't have some guy. Then you could just cut the fucking thing up and be like, who's driving what train? Throw the switch.
The best part is...
you fucking kidding me? There's like 50 billion tons of freight on these things, and you just letting some disgruntled douchebag take it?
Well, wasn't that the Denzel Washington movie?
Yeah, whatever. That's a movie.
But that was based on a true story.
Was it?
Yeah.
This
you didn't
story?
know that? No, not this story.
I was going to say, did they know in the future?
This just happened Thursday, but it actually was based on a true story that... What, Unstoppable?
Which one? The Phelan 133 with Denzel?
Unstoppable.
Oh, okay.
Remember with Captain
Yeah,
Kirk?
because he was in that other one, though, too. Where
Yeah, Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So, Denzel
But that was-
Washington and trains, I'm just never taking a subway with him on it.
Yeah, no shit. That was a remake, though, too. But it says, finally, Brooks encountered an idle Union Pacific train on the tracks. Quote, hoped no one was on it or under it, and hit it while traveling at about 10 miles per hour.
Oh, wow.
K2 Radio said.
Dude, seriously, at those speeds,
Yeah.
I hear you can spit, and it hits the ground. I mean, seriously, what, the 10 miles an hour? You're gonna fucking put that in there like it's a big deal?
My favorite part is Brooks said in the affidavit, quote, "I wanted to see what it was like to hit something, so I hit at it."
I hit at it?
I hit at it.
Wow. Brooks, you should be... How were you ever in charge of a 50-ton whatever?
Weapon?
Well, just the locomotive alone has to be at least that.
I don't know, dude. He must have went through some extensive screening, but then went nutso. But then he backed up.
Me and my wife's his cousins.
Yeah, but according to this, he backed up and crashed into it a second time.
Oh, well, why wouldn't you?
And was about to collide with it a third time when a RailLink employee was finally able to get on the locomotive and hit the fuel cutoff switch. And there ended my little escapade, he said. When W's caught him, he told them he was having a bad day and was trying to prove a point.
Wow.
Then asked Brooks if he had thought about taking his own life, to which he answered a couple times.
Oh, be serious though. Who hasn't?
So basically, he's just getting charged with all of this shit too now, like $750 fine,
that's
10,000, 10,000, 20 years in prison, and they're even what. He could also face federal charges from the Federal Railroad Administration. Yep, in violation of the trade right statute or terrorist acts or other violence against railroad carriers and mass transportation.
Fuck it, let's just send him to Ireland.
That is punishable of up to 20 years behind bars and $250,000 fine.
So he's phasing up to 40 years.
He is, and $20,000 in fines. Because I doubt they're gonna nail him with the terroristic acts. Fucking bullshit. I'm sorry.
Well, it should be true. Shit, that is kind of terroristic. If you're taking a train and smashing it repeatedly into other shits.
Well, then
I don't know all the variables, though. But what I'm saying is, what was the train that he was smashing into? What did it have on it?
I knew he basically took out most of the shit off and was just buzzing around.
No. I'm saying the train that he was smashing into.
I don't know. It doesn't.
What did it have on it? You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't say, but
did he know what it had on it? Because there could be oil. There could be. I mean, trains take all types of shit. Do you know that trains actually take nuclear waste?
Yeah.
And they actually have the boxcars look just like normal boxcars for everything else. They specifically designed them. If they would have designed them just for radioactive material, they could handle a shitload more than what they can. But they have to make them look like regular boxcars so that nobody knows what it's taking.
Yes, so they can't become a target.
Yeah. Or just that the public doesn't know what... Because every single American, if you've been next to a fucking boxcar, or, a train on the highway, just about every single American's been around nuclear waste closer than you've ever thought you were.
Yeah. And it could have just derailed and crashed in your backyard. I'm
guaranteeing we have been multiple times. Both of us have been on Highway 10 multiple times.
You used to your backyard was adjacent to railroad tracks when you were growing up.
And with Monticello,
that explains that third arm.
Well,
I didn't mean
awesome.
I didn't want to bring it up. I know it's been like 20 years, but
I'm just gonna say that's how I got my wife.
Fill all of her holes.
It's like a baby hand with an apple.
Giggity goo.
No, it's just. I think it's kind of funny. Trains take some of the nastiest shit that anybody can think of, and they're running all the time. And people take that shit for granted for the most part. I think it's kind of funny how people take automobiles, personally. Like, doing your makeup, or reading, or texting, or any of that kind of shit. I wish that they would teach you in driver's training exactly what you're doing. You are the guidance system of a sometimes 2-ton missile. You. Nobody else. Those times that you're driving, you are instantly should be reliable anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody should be able to rely on every driver that's on the road, whether you're drunk or not. And I will say this knowing that I am a good drunk driver.
We'll cut that out.
No, let's keep that in.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Top 5 in the state.
It just comes down to it that even if you're a good driver at any point, the whole thing is paying attention to what you're doing. If you're paying attention to what you're doing, you're going to be a good driver.
Yeah.
Problem is people don't pay attention to what they're doing. They fucking read books, they fucking text, they make phone calls when they can't. I absolutely hate when girls say, well, I'm a good multitasker because I'm female. Fuck you. Just because you're female does not mean that you can multitask.
And
that is on a case-by-case basis.
And if you were a good multitasker, when you're sitting there telling me you're a good multitasker, you should read every scientific study that says when you multitask, you're able to do more things poorly.
Yes.
Not more things.
You could do one thing at 100%. You can do two things at 60% for one of them and 30% for the other, which doesn't even come to 100%.
Well, because they're thinking about their boyfriend the other 10% of the time. Samuel!
Does he love me? Does he not love me? Yeah, multitasking doesn't get anything completed to the point where I like to complete it. I like to look at one task, and Leah has ragged on me on this one about eating. She's noticed that when I eat stuff on my plate, I usually try everything on the plate.
Just to get a taste of it.
And then after I made up my mind on what tastes the worst, I eat that first, all the way to the best.
Smart.
And that's just how I've always worked. It's a compulsive habit that I do.
Well,
I try everything on the plate, and then I go, okay, worst, middle, best. And that's how I eat stuff. I actually eat them
you know what?
In order.
I do that. I just thought about it, and I do that as well. Because
I eat one thing until it's done, then the next, then the next.
That's fucked up, because I remember, because at that funeral I went to in Iowa, I remember I got a bunch of different random shit, and I did the exact same thing.
Try one bite of everything so you can rank them.
And then I was like, oh.
Why would you want the shit taste in your mouth? You want the best taste you can.
You're like, this pea salad is subpar.
Yeah.
So I ate that first.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. I never even thought about that. But yeah, I did the exact same thing.
It's just like that. Multitasking is the same way. I choose what job is going to be the shittiest. You do that first. That way you don't have to complain later being like, why did I leave the shitty job for now?
Yeah. It's when I'm still fresh and don't hate myself. I'm going to do this really shitty job.
So that's how I've always looked at life. You take one job at a time, you complete the shittiest one the first, and then by the time you're at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I'm so glad I left this for the end of my day. Because this is the easiest job that I could think of, and now I'm gone.
Exactly.
So, to me, multitasking is redundant. It doesn't make sense to multitask at any point in time. You don't get as much accomplished by multitasking as you do taking everything that needs to get done in steps. I look at it in the same aspect as I look at any kind of engineering project, like with framing a house. You have to put the whole frame up before you can start sheeting the sides.
Yeah.
The reason you do that is because once you put the sheeting on, it weighs the walls at some point, which means you can't level the walls before you sheet it. So you can't do multiple things, otherwise it fucks up what you're doing. You have to take it one step at a time. You have to get all the walls up.
It's all connected.
Yeah. So multitasking in its own is mythical. It's like communism.
You really can't.
It's good on paper, but never works good in practice.
As soon as my left eye and left hand can do the same thing as like the right eye and right hand.
Oh, you're going to chameleon it?
But until that happens, you literally cannot multitask because you have to focus on one. Yeah. You could be focusing on one, doing one, while thinking about the other. That's what they call it, multitasking.
Yeah, and that's the funny part is because I'm talking about this being a professional cook for as many years as I was. I understand what multitasking is, but it's not literally multitasking.
No, it's not.
All it is a little reminder that goes off in your head going, this. And then another little reminder that goes, oh yeah, this.
Yeah.
It's not multitasking. It's training yourself to have internal timing.
And that's my favorite part. Is like
you still take everything once at a time.
Yeah, and you say like, well, girls say they can multitask. Have you ever been talking to your wife or significant other while they're trying to text somebody and they talk to you like this? Because guess what? They can't text and talk. Hence, you can't multitask.
Yep. I'll tell you what multitasking is talking to my wife on the phone, and I'm going to say it, I don't pick up every word, but I pick up the keywords.
Yeah. Because after
being
bullshit.
Around with somebody for as long as we have, you find out what keywords are. If there's keywords, you better pay attention.
Yeah.
So I can have a conversation with her on the phone, and it makes her feel real good, because I just sit there and do the, And I'm not kidding you, it's stereotypical, but it works. As long as you can pick up those keywords and just what?
And fake it.
She did what? And then they usually emphasize it again, like, I know! I can't believe she's pissed at that.
And when they don't, you're like, shit!
Yeah.
And then they ask you a direct question, like, fuck, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get busted, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
But that's what I consider multitasking, but you still only give 20% to that and 80% to what you're doing. Because I can read the paper as I'm talking to my wife on the phone sometimes. I can't say that I get everything out of the paper either, though. I get most of the key words.
Exactly.
And then if I like the article, I read it again when I get her off the phone, if I get her off the phone. Sometimes she talks until she gets here, and then she continues to talk.
That's annoying. Talking to you all the way up to the fucking door. I'm not saying your wife's
That's
annoying.
marriage, man.
I'm just saying.
That's marriage, man.
Being in a long-term relationship, I hate the advent of the cell phone. Because it sets you up for that shit. And you can't be like, oh, baby, I was just over at the gas place.
That's marriage, though. That's the difference. That's men and women. Because I was the same type of guy as everybody else of saying, oh, well, she's different. She's not this way. She's not that way. And the best part about it is...
She said the same thing about you? No?
Well, probably. But what I'm going to say is, depending on who you are, everything sounds annoying if you're not the one putting up with it for a reason. You always put up with everything for a reason. So, regardless of if it's my annoying, your annoying, who's annoying, everything's annoying to somebody. And everything, I can say that saying that's my annoying thing, but I put up with it because I love my wife.
Yeah, and it's...
Some people couldn't put up with that. But if that's all it is, and she, at this point, knows that I'm just sitting there reading the paper, doing anything else, and just, But she's okay with it because she understands those key words snap me back, and I listen to that part.
Yeah.
Other than that, all she's doing is making herself feel better, talking about all the jibba-jabba that she needs to.
And you're like, this is why you have girlfriends? Why
Nope.
do my face need
but
to
that's
hear
what you
this?
that's what you get when you get into that long-term relationship. She never did this to me when we were dating. That long-term relationship, I am now her dumping point. So whatever she needs to say, go ahead and fucking say it. Who cares? I signed up for it. I put the ring on it. You just gotta ride it off and go to the next punching bag because you're gonna get hit. That's all there is about it. I mean,
you're gonna get hit.
Marriage is not dating, and that's what I think people find funny about it. Is living with somebody is not dating. You find out all the little shit that bugs the ever-living piss out of you. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna say that I don't love my wife, but there was a couple of points where I was just like, God, I wish we had, like, a flight of stairs that was like 50 or 60 stairs. Just so an accident can happen. But I'm pretty sure she had the same feeling for me a couple of times. I know I'm not an easy person to live with. I expect excellence!
Nothing less. Exemplary blowjobs around.
Exactly. Strippers. Yeah, so I mean, marriage is that give and take, though, where you both go, that bugs the shit out of me, but it helps you out, so I'm just gonna let you do it because it's gonna help me in the long run.
No shit.
And I'm sure I do. Like, when I start talking about tools or, stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Like, when I went to the last auction and I was telling her about what I was bidding on, I could see the blank look in her eyes where she was looking at me like, I was looking at that website and those shoes looked so cute. I could see she was not into what I was saying.
Oh, exactly.
So it happens both ways. But as long as you can keep that blank look and just keep smiling and the other person is happy with just keep going, then it's going to be a good time. Well, I still remember talking to my brother about it because this is going to be our second year of marriage coming up. And I still, my brother...
When is it again?
The 20th.
Yeah, it was 10/20. Okay, I always forget.
But, so Luke was going, well, wait until you get to 7.
The itch?
And I looked at Luke and I was like, we're over 8 right now. Being together?
Yeah. But you said marriage was different than dating.
It is because
I just heard, I can rewind
because you're legally bound.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Because you'd have been like, I'm leaving you right now? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you can't do that. You're legally bound. I owe for half this shit.
And I truly think that's the only reason women really want to get married as bad as they do, is so they have a guarantee or it makes it way more difficult to be like, yeah, fuck off. Fuck off. I want nothing to do with you anymore.
Yeah, I was okay with not getting married. She wasn't.
Yeah. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep. But I did come to the conclusion that life was better with her in the picture rather than out. So...
And a wet dick is better than a dry dick.
It is true. It is true. I choose you, but I'm out.
Alright, well, we better be out. The revolution!
Oh, dude, I didn't tell you how to use Thomas Jefferson quote today.
What was it?
Those who trade their freedoms for security deserve neither.
Where, I think?
I said that when we were sitting in the courthouse.
Nice.
Well, when we were sitting waiting for shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But revolution has been coming.